Just a minute. Hi everyone. So welcome to Unacademy Live and welcome to today's 7 p.m. session, which is on tagged overqualified, tackle it with 100 percentiler. So as you'll know, today's session is being conducted by me, Nilanjan Dutta, a CAT 100 percentiler, one of the topmost educators on Unacademy and Unacademy Plus for the CAT and the MBA exams segment. Also, I want to take the opportunity to inform all of you about the Unacademy Plus 12 or 24 months program, where you can get mentored by CAT toppers and 100 percentilers like me, including the option of going for personalized mentoring. So a lot of you keep asking, how do you get personalized mentoring on Unacademy Plus? So for that, what you need to do is not only subscribe to the 12-month or the 24-month subscription plan, which is available at 75% off, but use the discount code Nilanjan Dutta while subscribing. It'll automatically make you eligible not only for the Unacademy Plus subscription, but also for one-on-one mock analysis as well as mock PIs sessions even during the GDPI stage. So in case you're wondering, how do you get that personalized bit along with your regular classes? This is the exact thing you need. Subscribe to the 12-month or the 24-month subscription plan using the discount code Nilanjan Dutta, and then share with us the screenshot at this number 810-2126-799 so that I can ensure that you're getting personalized one-on-one mock analysis as well as mock interviews sessions lined up. Also, we are having the Perfect Score batch, which is running on Saturdays and Sundays at 10 a.m. So make sure you're subscribing before tomorrow 10 a.m. And we have the weekday evening batch, which is starting in July, where I'm taking the iler module as well. So now we'll get started with the session on tagged overqualified, tackle it with 100 percentiler. In case you have any queries, make sure that you're using the chat window to ask all queries that you have on this particular topic, any particular situation. In case you have any queries, make sure that you're using any particular occasion that you face that thing, you can refer to that as well. Now, what exactly is this overqualified tag? And the most important reason for the overqualified tag is that maybe your strengths are too good for that particular institute or for that particular company where you are interviewing. So when I say overqualified, it could be for two reasons. One could be for a company where you're going for campus placements, be it in your engineering final year or in your graduation final year, or it could be the college or the B school that you're applying to. Let's look at a couple of scenarios. For example, let's talk on the lines of company. It might happen that you have a stellar profile, you have very good 10, 12 graduation marks, and maybe even in college you've done really well, you've done a lot of research papers and so on, and suddenly the company believes that probably you'll go for higher studies. So the question is, when they believe that you're too good for them, how do you ensure that you are not coming across as overqualified? Do you play down on your strengths? Absolutely no. Always remember, don't get bothered about getting cornered. Always focus on your strengths. So it's not that you play on your strengths at all. Absolutely no. Instead, what you have to do is play along your strengths, but stress more on those strengths which are relevant. For example, let's say you're applying to an HR college. So you cannot just keep talking about your passion for numbers and so on. Why? Because then they might just question you. You're too qualified for HR. You should be going for something like finance or operations. So make sure that when you're playing around your strengths, yes, play along your strengths, but stress more on those strengths and skills which you feel are more relevant for a particular opportunity that you are pursuing. So I hope the first point is clear to everybody. The first point, remember, strengths is must, but in case you have 5-6 strengths, make sure you're focusing on those 2-3 key strengths which you believe are the key ones for making sure that you qualify in the PI round. At the same time, the reason for this is, while you're going by your strengths, you're at the same time reassuring indirectly that yes, your strengths fall in line with what works for the interview. For example, if they are concerned about higher studies, do not just keep talking about research papers and how you're interested in a career in academics. The moment you're doing that, they might just wonder that, okay, fine, this person will go for higher studies for sure. He or she will definitely not stay in the job for more than a year. So they might not want to recruit you, despite the fact that your CGPA or maybe your coding skills or something might be better than others. So it's your duty to ensure that in such cases, you're the one who is standing out. So strengths, yes, relevant strengths is where your focus should be. The next thing, which is a very important thing, is steering your interviews into extracurriculars and PORs. So usually what happens is the overqualified tag or very, very good fit comes in with your academic or your WorkX background. For example, you might have a WorkX with a very strong company. For example, let's say you have WorkX with a top leading financial firm like a Morgan Stanley and so on, and now you're suddenly applying to an MBA in an average college. So that automatically that college might be wondering whether you're overqualified for that college or not. So again, make sure you're trying to steer your interview into something which is more softer, where the question of overqualified doesn't come in. At the same time, the chance of you coming across as impressive personality, as a multiple avenues of your personality, and as an interesting person is more. So focus on these areas. That is how you can drive the interview into your comfort zones. At the same time, remember, extracurriculars and PORs is not somewhere where they'll tag you as overqualified. And at the same time, this is the place where you can come across as somebody different as well. If I look at overall, over the last several years, the people who've gone to top B schools, most of them had strong extracurriculars and PORs. And the reason is because the moment they talk about that, the interviewers find something different in that candidate compared to a regular candidate who's got maybe just 90 plus in 10, 12 and 8 plus in college. You're not looking for students who are only in that category. You're looking for somebody who has something extra on them. The third part is ability to link your past, why job or MBA, and goals. So this is where most people tend to fail as far as the personal interview is concerned. Why? Because they're only obsessed about this part. Remember this, it is very important that you can link instances from your past to justify your job and MBA path. Because that is what you're looking for. What you're looking for is, this is your past here, this is your future goals here, and now they want to look at how that job or that particular MBA degree will be the bridge between the two. It is not supposed to be a case where you suddenly forget your past and one fine you decide that, okay, fine, this is my new goal, this is what I require. No, you're looking for people who can link their past. And the moment you can link your past to how it is relevant to your job or MBA, the question of this overqualified gets lost. So that automatically gives yourself a much stronger point. So are these 3 pointers clear, everybody? The next one is ensuring that there is enthusiasm that's reeking while you speak. talk about similar instances. For example, if you're talking about marketing, and it'll automatically ask you that whether you're fit for a role in sales. And especially, let's say you have a very stellar profile, you've gone into a lot of these top colleges and so on, and suddenly they'll tell you that whether you're fit for a sales profile. And what is sales? Sales can be something as tedious as going from here to there, going to a shopkeeper and telling him, take more of my products, quarreling with distributors on taking more of your products. And the moment that thing comes in, actually going to the market and pushing your product, the challenge comes in that whether you will be motivated or not. So how do the panelists understand that you will be motivated to do that despite your top-notch qualifications? And that is where this word plays a major role. It's not about only what you're saying, but whether you're sounding enthusiastic about it, whether you're being able to come up with references of where you've done something similar. For example, sales, it's a very hectic job. But how many of you have done college sponsorships? Getting sponsorships for college is a very difficult job as well, where you need to go from one company to another, you need to create tie-ups, you need to ask people whether they can sponsor, you can keep approaching them, they'll tell you that, okay, no, today they don't have time, come back again after a few days, and it's a very tedious process. And the fact is, if you can talk about those examples and how you stayed motivated during those, that could probably give an instance of the fact that you have it in you for a sales role. Again, remember this, sales is something which is a must for marketing. Marketing is only a later stage, sales is the primary stage of marketing. So you have to be prepared for what is called hands-on work, on the field, going in, working. Let's just take an example. Let's say you're working in a startup, you want to work in a startup. Let's just take an example of a startup like Unacademy itself. So what is Unacademy doing? They're connecting basically educators to students, which means you automatically need to spend a lot of your effort on chasing educators. Chasing educators, asking them to enroll in the platform. That is how a startup grows. Same thing if you're in an Ola or Uber. You have to spend a lot of your effort in the sales team if you're part of it, trying to chase popular people who've got a fleet of maybe 50 taxis. Let's say somebody has a fleet of 50 taxis. If you can, tap him and get him to move all his cabs to your service, then automatically the count of cabs in your service increase drastically. Let's say you're in Oyo and you need to get some tie-up with another 50 hotels, and you know somebody has a lot of properties with him. So you do that tie-up, which would involve going and approaching maybe in some cases not so educated people as well, especially in a model like Ola, Uber or Oyo. But you've got to be prepared for it. And that is where the challenge lies. You cannot just say, this is not my job. Your job may require you to constantly follow up with somebody. Even if that person is ignoring you, you constantly follow up because you feel there's some hope at the end of the tunnel. So making sure that you're staying motivated is very important. That's one of the biggest reasons why a lot of these companies or institutes are very concerned about people who've had very safe backgrounds forever. For example, in operations, they usually prefer people from engineering and core engineering backgrounds. Why? Because they know that these people have the experience of working in a factory. And that is important. They are not expecting that after MBA, you'll just go and sit in a plush office in a corporate office and you'll be working. No, you have to go to a factory. You have to go and check how the day-to-day operations are going on. And for that, you have to be prepared to go all the way, stay in the heat, observe how the work is happening, and give your suggestions. So it will not be an easy life. And that is the exact reason why they do not want people who worked in very protected environments like maybe an IT setup or maybe in an office-based desk job like a finance setup for such a role. Same thing in sales. The reason why they're looking for outgoing personalities rather than people who've got stellar academic records is because it's not stellar academic records which will help you. It's going to be the fact that whether you're an outgoing person, where you can always keep on being motivated and keep on trying pushing your boundaries to achieve your thing. And so that is what brings me to the point, stick around. They also want to know somebody who will stick around, not only in terms of the kind of work, but also, more importantly, whether you can stick around in terms of staying back in the company or in the job. They do not want people who after 6 months will leave the company for higher studies. No. Yes, if you are saying you'll do it after 3 years, that is fine. But they do not want people to leave the company within 6 months. Every company has a track of the attrition rate. So they want people to stay on for at least 1.5 years in the company, 2 years in the company. So that is something that they are very concerned about, which is why sometimes they might try to not pick out the best of students who they believe will surely go for higher studies or will surely not want to continue for this kind of work. At the same time, the next question is then, do you bluff? Personally speaking, I would advise you, don't bluff in such cases. If you're not comfortable, say you're not comfortable. Because most colleges have this policy of one company per student. So if you end up in a company which is not suited for you, your life could become miserable after 6 months or a year. So it's better to be honest. It's better to focus on those companies where you somewhat fit in rather than those companies where you absolutely do not fit in as far as work culture is concerned. Remember, you're trying to build your career, so it's very important that you're doing it something which suits your personality and your attributes. So I'll just pause and I'll check in case there are any questions that have come in thus far. Sankalp, for CAT, if you're asking about RS Agarwal, Arun Sharma, I would say for Quants, it's always going to be Arun Sharma followed by Sarvesh Verma. Volunteer is not a strong extracurricular, we can mention it, but it's better if you have a little more stronger, like you actually were part of organizing something and so on. Certificate courses, in job it might help, but if it's relevant, if it's a relevant skill, for example, if you've done something in machine learning and you're applying for a technology based role, there it might help. If you've done something in CSCP and applying for a supply chain role, there it might help. But in general, if it is just unrelated, it may not help. So again, when I say consultant, it depends on which sector you are in. If you are in the So mostly what they'll try to do is they'll place you in the sector which is relevant. For example, you're in an agricultural background, they'll put you in a consulting sector where you'll be advising clients who are in the FMCG space, who deal with agro products and so on, so that your experience becomes relevant. That is something that most companies tend to do it from their own side. They try to invest in things which are relevant. See, depends on what you want to do your MBA in. If you're sure you want to do MBA in one of marketing or HR, then you can go for that. Okay, but don't go for randomly everything. Just go for the one which maybe you are interested in genuinely. You can maybe have a look at it. That will give you some idea. So for QA, it is Arun Sharma, Sarvesh Verma. For GILR, it would be Arun Sharma and Nishit. For VRC, it would be McGraw Hill Education, which is Arun Sharma and Meenakshi ma'am. The next thing is where you can talk about relatable, interesting stuff. Ideally, interesting stuff around these lines, but at the same time, things which are relevant to your skill set. For example, you're good at debating, and if your role requires a lot of interaction, then automatically there is a very strong fit. Similarly, in case you've done into something which involves teamwork, something like choreography, dancing, acting, which involves a lot of group and teamwork, and you have to get into a team lead role, that automatically kinds of fits in. So look for things which are relatable, interesting, and at the same time kind of shows that you have the aptitude for fitting in. Similarly, there might be something which is a repetitive job. The fact that even in a repetitive job, how you manage to get in efficiencies over a long term, how you manage to introduce maybe something like an automation or something and get output for your client or for your company, this is what they are looking for. Even in a repetitive job, how can somebody stay motivated and further enhance the output or productivity in the long run? So come across such examples that will showcase that you're not somebody who is over obsessed about the quality of work, who is ready to experiment. And the moment that happens, automatically it's your job that gets done. So these are 6 pointers which I believe should be of primary importance to each and every one of you. So remember, drive the interview by yourself. This is a must. Make sure that at the start of the interview itself, you are talking about skill sets that do not focus on the over part. It might happen that out of 7 or 8 skill sets, 2-3 of them may be irrelevant and may project at something else. So don't highlight those so much. Focus on those which are very relevant for the job at hand. Also remember this, every job has a different job role. So make sure that you're going for the job role. For every job, make sure you're going for the job role. Make sure you're going for the company details. Similarly, if it's for a college, make sure you're going for the program details, the college details, so you understand that whether you fit in or not. One is for yourself. Second is not only for yourself, but how do you structure yourself? Maybe you have 7-8 qualities, out of which are the ones which if you highlight, they would be relevant, which are the ones that you can connect to something that happens in their program or in their particular job role. Because that would make you sound like you're not overqualified. Do not talk about those 2-3 which might sound that you're not a good fit here. Remember this, every company looking for somebody who fits in, not somebody who's the best candidate. So remember that always when you're performing. So Jaggu's asking about suggestion books for GDPI. See, for GDPI, I would say books aren't required. Anyways, with the Unacademy Plus 12 or 24 month program, as I mentioned, you get access to mock PIs to be conducted by me. As you know, I'm a CAT 100 percentiler, so I'll be personally conducting your mock PIs if you're part of the Unacademy Plus 12 or 24 month program in using the code Nilanjan Dutta while subscribing. Just make sure that when you're subscribing with the code Nilanjan Dutta, you're sharing the screenshot immediately at the following number. That would make you eligible for the mock PIs. Is that clear? So in mock PIs, there will be one-on-one sessions, which means automatically it'll be focused on you. There will be normal sessions as well, but it'll also be one-on-one thing, which is the reason why the mock PIs are very essential. And this will be complimentary with the 12 or a 24 month subscription. Just use the code Nilanjan Dutta while subscribing and share a screenshot at this number. Books wise, I don't think books can help much in mock PIs, though you can refer to always the compendiums that a CL or an IMS releases for the GDPI. If you can buy that, those would be fine, but nothing else is really essential. So remember this, fighting the overqualified tag is something which is very important. It's something that most of you will face. It's also a realization point for you that whether you fit in as well as not. As I said, I always believe that you fitting into what is suits your potential, be it in terms of a job or be it in terms of a college, that is also very important. So don't try to bluff too much. Try and figure out what you actually are. Focus on interesting areas and make sure that you're going to link. This is the most important part. Be it if it's a job, then how are your job skills relevant to past? If it is not, then how is your MBA relevant to your past and your future goals? So make sure that you're able to drive it by yourself. Is this clear to everybody? And remember this, the more you talk about interesting things, the more you talk about assurance of stick around, but give realistic assurances. So in case they give you a situation that what if you get an offer from a much better company or college, say that you'll go. For example, they often ask people, let's say you got a Shillong call and they ask you Shillong versus Ahmedabad. Say that you would go to Ahmedabad. Don't downplay Shillong, but at the same time say that you'll go for, because be realistic. So that you are also sound as believable. That is also very important. But at the same time, talk about the fact that how you believe that even if you're going to Shillong, you'll be able to get adequate opportunities for your career growth. So on that note, as we end the session, just a reminder, the 12 or 24 months Unacademy Plus program, the 24-month program, we will have 75% off. In addition to that, we're using the discount code Nilanjan Dutta. You'll get it at a further discounted price, and at the same time, you'll be eligible for mock PIs as well as mocks analysis. Both of them are one-on-one initiatives on a monthly basis. So make sure to subscribe for either 12-month or the 24-month program. Also, as part of the Perfect Score batch for CAT 2020, so that is every Saturday and Sunday at 10 a.m. So this weekend also we have sessions as part of the algebra module. And given that algebra is a very important component, make sure you're attending the session tomorrow at 10 a.m. So make sure you're sharing a screenshot once you subscribe so that I can add you to this course, the Perfect Score batch for CAT 2020, as well as the CAT 2020 weekday evening batch is starting in July, where the iler module will be covered. Both of them are available if you're subscribing using the code Nilanjan Dutta. So then we'll connect through this CAT 2020 weekday evening batch as well as the Saturday, Sunday, the Perfect Score batch. So both of them would hopefully be a very good opportunity for us to connect and take forward the learning experience. As you know, we'll already be connecting for the GDPI thing as well later on. So that would further enhance your preparations. So on that note, thank you everybody. and happy learning.